Hey guys, SuperHolo1 here. Welcome back to another video, and today I am here with my second layout update video. So in my first video, you guys saw the basic track plan, and I went over basically my thought process for how the layout's going to turn out. So from here on out, the videos are just strictly going to be things that I have updated on the layout, and if I make massive changes to like what I'm planning, I'll go over that too. But yeah, so as you can see, there's quite a few things that are different now than what they were. If you haven't seen the two previous videos that were between this one and the first layout update, this is all brand new to you. So here's where the first big change to my layout is going to happen. I'm going to go through this first. Whether it's going to be this side or the other side or both or this side and the other side and the short side or one of the long sides, I don't know. We're going to work that out. So, but basically, this skirting that's here is going to be removed, and in its place is going to be shelves. So, the reason I want to do this is because I have a lot of stuff, and I previously had it just all underneath the platform on some tracks, and it was an absolute pain in the neck to switch out trains. So, like, right now, I have the 8-car consist, because I got out the other 2 Polar Express cars. I have the 8-car Polar Express consist. The only car I'm missing is the combo car, but I have 8 of them, and it takes up currently about 60% of my outer loop. So I really don't need another car. But yeah, so that's a long train. And digging that all out is an absolute pain in the neck. And I didn't like having to fish underneath of the skirting and pull things out and put everything else back, and then it's just a very complicated process to switch out trains. So if I had shelves, that process would be a lot easier, and I would likely be switching out trains a lot more. Currently, I have all the trains. You can see my locomotives over there, or some of them. Currently, I have all the trains out from underneath of the platform because I was working on wiring. But I've been swapping out trains a lot more recently because it's easier. So part of that was my inspiration for wanting to do shelves. Also, my father was like, hey, yo, you should build shelves. It would be cool. And honestly, it would look pretty darn cool, but it also serves a functional purpose. But it's basically just 1x4 pine. And again, I don't really know where it's going to be. It's definitely going to need to take up 2 sides, because I was thinking about it, and I realized that all 8 of my Polar Express cars are going to take up 2 shelves. But I have a lot of stuff. If you haven't seen my Lionel O-Gauge collection video, go check that out. I have a lot of stuff, and it's going to take up a lot of space. So, we'll see how that goes. But underneath of my layout, the leg configuration is very weird. I'm going to show you that in a second. But if you want to know my Polar Express train length, there you go. It's a long boy. So it's kind of difficult to show this, but basically this is the underside of my platform, and this is when it's not full of boxes and trains and whatnot, and needs to be vacuumed. But anyway, so as you can see here, there's 4 legs kind of just in the middle here. And the reason that is because that is my old layout. That was the size of my old layout. And when we expanded it, what we did was we basically put a C around the thing and to make it bigger, and it works. It's just going to be very interesting trying to figure out how to do structure when this is the current setup for it when I'm putting in shelves, because the legs are obviously going to need to come out. But obviously I'm not going to need any of these cross braces or anything, because the shelves are just going to be one solid cross brace going all the way across. But yeah, so these legs are probably going to need to come in somehow, but that's a problem for another time when I actually start building these things. In the meantime, I'm working on the top of the layout, which, you know, doing that first and then removing everything that's holding it up, maybe not the best idea, but for right now, it's what I'm doing. So if it bites me in the butt later, I'll make a video on it. So, if you saw the last 2 videos on my channel, they were both ballasting tutorials, and basically, it's a tutorial on how I made the biggest change to my layout in this update. As you can see here, all of my track is ballasted. The thing I didn't cover the lichen stuff. Basically, this is just lichen that's glued to the side of the switch machine. So, it's glued to the platform around the switch machine. And it's basically just meant to help it blend in a little bit better and cover up some of the wires that are over here. And honestly, I don't think it looks too bad. But if you have any questions on how I did this, go check out the tutorial videos, because I tried to cover in some pretty good detail how I did it. I really like how it turned out. I figured out a way to do it a lot cheaper than it would be. So, and in the process, I also got the material to do the yard, which I will get to now. So here's the back of the yard area. Basically, this is the same polymeric sand I used for the ballast. It's just a finer grade. The way I did this was I painted this half brown and then sprayed it with spray adhesive and put the stuff over it. And basically, the reason only this half is brown is because I was using that as my test bed, and I ran out of brown paint about halfway through. So I did this side and then realized that it basically covers up all the brown, so didn't bother doing the other half. And it works really good. You can't see any of the green or light tan that's underneath of all the gravel. So you may notice that in the yard area, the freight station's here and the searchlight tower's over here. If you looked very closely at the track plan that I showed in my first layout update, the searchlight tower was in front of the freight station. And what happened was I drilled the holes a little too close to the track, so I put the freight station there, and then was like, you know what, I can't put the searchlight tower in front, that wouldn't make any sense. And then I realized I had this big open space here, so I put it there, and I have the one working light on it going over the track. So when I get a replacement light, I will put that in and both sides will work, but for right now, it's going to stay the way it is with one light working. But basically, that's how I did that, and it looks not too bad, honestly. I might throw on some different shades later and see how that turns out, but for right now, it's where I want it. So here's the last external change on the layout. It's this heavily vegetated area around the school. Basically, this was just an experiment to see what it looks like, and it's not horrible. It's gonna need some trimming. Obviously, I'm gonna need to like pull off some stuff because it looks very, very heavily vegetated right now. But basically, what this stuff is when I did the yard area, I took off the grass that's on top, and the way you do that with paper grass, is you spray it with water, and then you take a scraper of some sort, which I used a putty knife, and you just scrape the stuff off. And I put it in a shoebox and let it dry out, and it makes this somewhat decent ground cover. Again, it's going to need a bit of work, but for right now, it's okay. Obviously, I need to, like, clean it up, but I'll get to that at another time. But now I'm going to go over the changes that you can't see unless I flip a switch at the control panel. So the last major change is this switch here. In my first layout update video, I explained that this is the lighting switch. It wasn't wired up at the time. It's wired up now. If you noticed on my last layout, I never ran anything with the lights in the buildings on. I took photos of it with the lights on, and I usually had the lights on when I was running it, when I was using the layout with guests. But other than that, I never really had them on. Hopefully I'm going to be having them on a little bit more often now, but who knows. I'm trying to preserve the bulbs for when I actually have people that are trying to visit the layout and want it to actually look decent. So, yeah, that's what this switch is. So this switch controls the lights in the water tower, the searchlight tower, the school, and Oceanside Station. And if I eventually get street lights, it's going to light up that too. The lights in the freight station are a little different. That's controlled by track power. I went over that in the first video. I'm not going to go over that again. But basically, this is my master switch for all the lights on the layout except the freight station. I almost completely forgot about this part. So this is basically supposed to be some bushes. This is going to be in the heavily forested area of my layout. I have the trees, and I also have some grass, or some ground cover that I'm going to be using to make the grass look better. That's on its way. So basically, this area isn't going to have a lot of trees because it's between the tracks, and that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. I might be able to fit some smaller trees, but I don't know. I have some HO scale tree or N scale trees. I guess it's N scale. It's like 1.5 inch trees, because they don't do trees in scales. They do trees in height, because that's how trees work. But anyway, this I feel like adds a very nice texture, a very nice feel to this area of the layout. I'm probably going to be adding more bushes over here on this corner, but for right now, this actually doesn't look horrible, and I'm thinking about expanding it, so yay. Alright, so now that I have gone over all the updates to the layout, let's run some trains.
This is the dispatcher. You're clear to pull. Over.
Copy that, dispatcher. Cleared to move. Here we go. Out.
So there you have it. That is my second layout update. As you can see, the layout has definitely come a long way, and halfway through recording this video, actually, I got a notification saying that my trees and grass are coming on Saturday as of this video being recorded. So this layout definitely has a long way to go, but it's definitely going to be an adventure getting through it all. So let me know what you guys think of the layout so far. If you got any suggestions or if you have any comments you'd like to make, let me know in the comments. Anyway, I am CWHollow1, and have a good day, or maybe good night in your case. See ya.